We got the stand down, and we'll get the climbing stick down here in a minute. But let me tell you guys something about leaving stands on public land. You do that, you always run the risk of coming down here and finding it's not there. This stand I've probably had for 30 years. So if you want a dollar cost, average it down, it is at zero cost to me. If it goes away, I'm fine with it because I bought it at a garage sale for next to nothing. So you don't want to go and buy a $200 gorilla stand, put it up there, and hope that somebody doesn't steal it. I stick these out here. If somebody gets it, they get it. They just wanted it worse than I did. So now that the tree stand is down, after all is said and done, it is February. It's about 75 degrees. I like to look around the area and just kind of check and see, because like I said, I saw a ton of deer here. I just didn't see any horns, and for the last couple of years, this place was real good about seeing horns. So what I like to do is just kind of nose around and see if there's deer still moving through here. Some pock marks, some old rubs. Looks like they're coming out of this, moving over there. There's the tree. Here's the thing about hunting in planted pines. It is an endless just sea of rows of pine trees, palmettos, and gallberries. And you're going to look, and you're going to look, and you're going to look, and you're not going to see anything, and you're not going to see anything, and then all of a sudden you're going to come on a break. And then you're going to find it gets a little bit thicker, and then all of a sudden you find the holy grail for hunting in planted pines, and that's a lone oak tree. Now this area's got several, but you get an oak tree like this early in the year, August, September, you'll see the acorns up there. You look at them with, get a pair of binoculars, they'll be as big as BBs, and then they'll get bigger and bigger. But here's something else that I learned. Probably out of every 10 oak trees that I've found that have acorns, the deer are only going to be on 1 or 2 of them. And then they kind of switch it every year. Sometimes oak trees fall every year, sometimes they fall every other year, sometimes they fall once every 5 or 6 years. So what you got to do is you got to figure out which ones that the deer are feeding on. And a lot of times the easiest way to do that, and I got a buddy of mine that told me this, you look on the ground, you see a lot of tracks, they're moving through there, but if you see droppings, that means they're standing and they're feeding. And what he likes to do and what I like to do is, and I find an oak tree that the deer are actually stopping and feeding under, I'm going to try to get either a lock on or a ladder right up there in the middle. Because you figure the drip line is going to be right there. If they're feeding right here, that's 10 steps. There's your shot right there. You can make that with a bow. You can make it with a black powder rifle. And again, I use a 10 gauge. So I shoot them with a shotgun if I can get them this close. But trees like this, when there's deer feeding on them, are money. But they're frustrating as hell because you can find them, they can be dumping acorns, and there's not a deer track around. So that's part of the mystery, and that's part of the challenge of hunting in these planted pines. But when you find a big oak tree like this, and this is a water oak, these deer come out and they'll pound them. I mean, you can kill them in the morning, the middle of the day, and the afternoon. It's a beautiful thing when you find them. And I've been very fortunate in this particular area. There's one here, and then there's one over there, and a couple of times every other year or so they'll start dropping acorns and the deer will just pound them, and you can kill a buck off of them. I want to share some thoughts with you about hunting public land and surveyor's tape. Now, Florida Wildlife and Conservation says it's littering and you can get fined for it, but if you hunt public land, you're going to find surveyor's tape, and you're going to find it all over the place. Don't tear it down, just go find another place to hunt. There's tons and tons of area in these management lands, and I just, it's a pain in the ass, but what do you do? And in the off season, I'll go figure out where they're at, and I won't mess with them, but it's good to know how far away you are from the next person. But it's just something you got to deal with. It's public land. All right, public land. Google Earth. Look at this. Let me give you a scenario. December, January, all the acorns are gone. All the browse is gone. This is a gold mine. Easy to find on Google Earth, sometimes real hard to get to, surrounded by real thick planted pines. But look at the sign. This is a food plot, and this is one you don't have to maintain. All of this right here, those are dollar bonnets, or what I call dollar bonnets, little lily pads, and the deer eat the crap out of them. Now this particular pond is easy to get to, real close to the road, but you can find a pond that is real far into the woods. You can sit here, and in the afternoons, just before dark, these deer will start funneling out to these ponds and feeding, and you can kill a rack buck chest deep in one of these ponds. Now, north is this way. Something else that I've learned about these ponds is that these bucks will come inside this real thick area right here in the planted pines, and they'll circle downwind, see if there's any does, and they'll do it late December, January. I've even seen them in November. So something else to consider when you're hunting public land. Again, it's public land. Easy to get to means you're going to find people. If you can find one that you really got to work, and it doesn't have to be this big, it can be half this size, as long as it's got that type of greenery, these deer will come and they will pound it to death. Private land too.